a minister goes to visit an elderly woman who's shut in, and he goes to sit on her couch, and he sees a bowl of peanuts sitting on the coffee table. He says, "Oh, do you mind if I have a few of your peanuts?" And she said, No, go right ahead. And after about an hour, they're done chatting, and he gets up to leave, and he looks at the bowl of nuts and says, "Oh my, I'm so sorry, I ate all the peanuts. I thought I was just going to have a few, but I got carried away." And she said, "Oh, that's okay. Ever since I don't have teeth, I just sucked the chocolate off of them." My parents always told me I had a weird sense of humor when I was a kid. But, I share that because laughter cultivates joy. And we're about joy today, so laugh. I've been reflecting this week on what brings me joy. What kind of things do I like to make me, not make me, but bring me into a place of joy? And I was thinking about palm trees. No palm trees here in Colorado. Thinking about the sunset, watching the sunset and the sunrise, and rainbows, and grandchildren, no matter what mood they're in. And a great pair of great fitting jeans. It's lots of things. We need to focus on those things that bring us joy. And it's not that there's, something outside of us, but when you're just looking at the sunset and this feeling of listening to the ocean waves and knowing that there's this flow to life, that everything is as it should be, everything is right in our world. Know that of oneness, that we're all connected. Listening to the ocean waves and knowing that there's this flow to life. So today is the fourth Sunday of Advent. Everything is right. Advent, the word Advent originally meant the coming. They used to, in early Christian days, it was the coming, people getting prepared to be baptized. And then for many centuries, it was recognized as the second coming of Jesus. And it's only been in the last couple hundred years where it's the nativity, the coming of the greater awareness, we say in unity, a greater awareness, the birth of a greater awareness of our Christ nature. And we want to prepare for that. So we prepare and we wake ourselves up and we get ready for this birth of new awareness by examining our beliefs and then coming to a place of peace and surrender. And bringing love, harmonizing, unifying everything, all those good thoughts. And then joy. It's important to bring in joy to this new awareness. No matter what our circumstances, there's something to be joyful about, because joy is what we are. Joy is a quality of spirit, and so it's also a quality of us. Mary Cufferley says, she was a Unity minister, she says, "Joy belongs to you, whether you know it or not. It is yours now to discover, to use, to exercise, and to bring into expression." There was a slide, but. So joy is this, no, not that one. It was a short one. Anyway. We got this screen of people jumping for joy, leaping for joy. Joy is this welling up and bubbling over. And where does that expression come from, this leap for joy, jump for joy? It's like we can hardly contain it. We can hardly keep it in our body. We have to just jump. You ever watch little kids when they get excited, they start jumping up and down? It's so cute. Jump for joy. So we can literally jump for joy, and if you are feeling joyful and you want to jump during this service, go ahead and jump. And if you want to figuratively jump for joy, you just smile and I'll know you're jumping for joy in your head and you're saving all your energy to get to Foss Hall or for Christmas Eve. But we want to jump for joy, leap for joy. There's so much to be joyful for, but we don't always feel that way. I was looking for the origin of this phrase. Usually they pop right up. I was origin, jump, leap for joy. And the first thing that popped up was this quote. It was one of the Beatitudes. This one comes from the book of Luke. this quote from the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 6. Blessed are you when people hate you, and when they exclude you, revile you, and defame you on account of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for surely your reward is great in heaven. Really? You know, before I came to Unity, I did not understand this beatitude. I did not like this beatitude. I always had a hard time with this beatitude. Really, blessed are you when people hate you, when they persecute you, when they exclude you. We're supposed to leap for joy? But if we look at it metaphysically, people are always our thoughts. They're always within our own consciousness. And so when our thoughts of hatred or revile or exclusion, there's a war going on inside our own minds. There's this resistance. You see, the world would have us think a certain way. The world would have us behave and think a certain way. An eye for an eye. But when we're on a spiritual path, that's not the way. And so there's a war going on inside our head. The part of us that wants to follow this spiritual path, and the part that wants to hold us back. And so when we are feeling this resistance and this war going on inside our own minds, it's a sign that we are growing. So leap for joy. You are growing. Rejoice when you become aware that you are growing, because we're growing towards the birth of a new awareness of what we are, of the Christ that we are. People who are really stuck in negativity don't have that resistance. There's no movement. Spirit in us is movement. It's the breath. And it should always be moving and evolving. And if you're stuck, there's no movement. There's no resistance. You don't have any of those hateful, excluded thoughts because you're stuck. So jump for joy, leap for joy when you recognize that you're growing, that we're trying something new, that we're coming to this new birth. Don't let if you like the peanuts and the chocolate, you should have both. You deserve to have both. Don't let somebody suck the joy out of you. So rejoice when you're feeling that resistance. The more we come to that awareness, the more we feel this experience, this sense of oneness. And that's what we want, that Christ consciousness. The more joy we will feel. And we can cultivate more joy. We studied the book of joy last summer, the 8 pillars to joy. We cultivate these things within us. And they say it was written by the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and they said that generosity is one of the 8 pillars of joy, but generosity is really a really, really strong cultivator of joy, that as we give, we receive. As we share, we're meant to share our gifts, that we're not meant to hoard them. We're meant to share them, because as we share them, they grow. Desmond Tutu says this: God, who is forever pouring out God's whole being from all eternity, wants you to flourish. God wants you to be filled with joy and excitement and ever longing to be able to find what is so beautiful in God's creation. The compassion of so many, the caring, the sharing. And God says, please, my child, help me. Help me to spread love and laughter and joy and compassion. And you know what, my child? As you do this, hey presto, you discover joy. Joy which you had not sought comes as the gift, as almost the reward for this non-self-regarding caring for others. You know, my daughter was sharing with me this week that she's learned that, you know, when you get a reward for doing something, she said, it's not the physical reward. It's the sense of self. It's the knowing that you did a good job, or that you did a good deed, or that you shared or you helped someone. Not the reward that is the gift, but the sense of feeling good about yourself and knowing that is God in you, expressing, sharing. I ran across this video last week that just touches my heart every time I watch it. Let's share that now, Tom.
'Twas a night before Christmas, and all across the land, the good folks of WestJet had a miracle planned. On the eve before flying, the guests were in their beds. Visions of traveling danced in their heads. While out on the runway, something secret had arrived. It was left in the lounge. 'Twas a Christmas surprise.
This year, Cohen? A choo-choo train? Oh, a classic. Do you like Thomas? What would Mommy and Daddy like for Christmas?
Big TV.
Yeah, big TV.
A big TV. You're looking fabulous.
Well, I need to.
It's okay if you just want to stare at me as well.
What I need is new socks and underwear.
An Android tablet.
Is that William beside you? And Cameron?
Some Santa boots.
Duck stuff installed.
While the guests told their Christmas wishes to good old St. Nick, WestJetters took notes and got ready to shop quick. It was a great rush with the 2 flights in the air to get all those presents. Not a moment to spare.
Sleigh bells ringing, there's children singing tonight. Lights are bright, we know it's a beautiful sight. Snowflakes on in the world, it's snowy and white. Santa's coming to town, it's coming tonight.
Hey, Thomas, let's get
Christmas cheer and celebrations all across the land. A sound of expectations waiting for the man.
Thanks for flying with us at WestJet. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of your flight.
Happy faces were all so merry and bright. Santa's coming to town, tonight.
But was everything ready? We all had to wait for the moment of truth at Carousel 8.
Merry Christmas!
guests never expected what they asked of St. Nick would actually appear. It was all quite a trick. A WestJetter would say it was more than mere fun. Miracles do happen when we all work as one. We'll give Santa the last word on this most special night.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good flight. Ho, ho, ho.
I love that video. I cry every time I look at it, or every time I watch it, but I love how they said at the end, miracles do happen when we all work as one. So true. So true. Some people, after the first service, one person said, you know, this is a good lesson in ask and you shall receive. Aren't you glad you weren't that person that asked for socks and underwear? And that everybody felt heard. It's so important. We all want to feel heard and seen. And of course, you know, this is about stuff, getting stuff, but can you just feel the joy of giving? Like, I want to work for WestJet now. And they did this in 2013 for 2 flights that were flying to Calgary on Christmas Day. And there's a blog post, and they've done some other amazing things for people too. Thanksgiving and hope and giving hope, and what a great company. But the joy is in the giving. Our greatest joy is when we give to others, when we do good for others. We're wired to be compassionate. We're wired for it. But so often in New Thought, we're called Pollyanna. Have you ever been called that? You're just a Pollyanna. Pollyanna comes from the children's stories written in the early 1900s by Eleanor Porter. And Pollyanna was an 11-year-old orphan in the first book. And she goes to live with her Aunt Polly, who's not happy that she has to raise her niece. And so she makes life very difficult for Pollyanna and does, you know, horrific things to her, or treats her very badly. And Pollyanna always finds the good in it. One time her aunt fed her only bread and water, and Pollyanna said, at least I have food, and it's a good thing I like bread and water. But Pollyanna, throughout this book series, changes the lives of the whole town. Everybody in their small village gets to know Pollyanna because she plays this game called the Glad Game, where she looks for the good in everything. No matter what's going on, there's good in it. And so at one point in her life, she's tested. She's in an accident, and she loses the use of her legs. And she's having a hard time finding the good in that. But all the townspeople come and visit her and show her what a difference she made in their lives from the Glad Game. See? Good thing, miracles do happen. So we're all invited to, actually, Pollyanna, did I finish the story? I've lost track. Pollyanna ends up going to a rehab center and learning to walk again, and it's a happy ending. But, you know, Pollyanna's given a really negative connotation nowadays. When people call you a Pollyanna, it's not usually a compliment. But we can take it as a compliment because we can choose to take it however we want. Be a Pollyanna. Play the good game. Look for the good. Spread joy. Help others. So are you a Pollyanna? Or are you a victim? It's our choice how we want to play in this world. And you can always tell by the stories that you're sharing about your life with other people. What kind of stories are you sharing? What do you talk about? Where are you focused? We can spread joy or not. But the more we spread joy, it's like releasing the keys. It's like the keys to the kingdom of heaven. We can rejoice. We can leap. Come out of our bodies, literally. Bubble over. There's always something to be joyful about. no matter what's going on. Let your life unfold this greatness by having this consciousness of joy. Desmond Tutu says in the Book of Joy, it helps no one if you sacrifice your joy because others are suffering. We people who care must be attractive, must be filled with joy so that others recognize that caring, that helping and being generous are not a burden, they are a joy. Give the world your love, your service, your healing, but you can also give it your joy. This too is a great gift. So this Christmas season, I invite you to give your joy. Find the joy. It's all there within each of you. And then leap for joy. Namaste.